Order, and I'll ask for a roll call of council.
Gary Holsey.
Present.
John Jones. Clint Steiger is absent. Leanne Dyer. Present. James McMahon.
Good evening.
Josh Putman.
Here.
Trent Walker.
Still here.
Move to excuse Clint Steiger.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to excuse Councilmember Steiger. Any remarks? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Councilmember Steiger is excused. I'd like the record to reflect that the mayor has asked that the mayor pro tem chair the meeting tonight. He's having trouble with his hearing, so I have obliged his request. We have. Can I have my accent? Not to be technical, but we have one item of business for this evening. If I can pull it up. Maybe somebody could just say it.
I can give it a paper copy.
There we go. We have one item on the agenda today, a discussion on hiring in trivia, investigations to investigate complaints employee issues in City Hall. Can I have a staff briefing, please? Is there one necessary since we just workshopped? Perhaps not. Is there a motion to be made?
There's none included with the agenda. There's no resolution.
There is in our packet a contract, so I think if there's a motion to be made, it would be that council approve the contract as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract presented with Intrivia investigation.
Is there a second?
I will second to allow discussion.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the contract as presented. Councilmember Walker.
I only have a few questions. So first, and I can't remember if we discussed this last week or not, but was there a requirement to advertise this, or is this a professional services contract that?
This would be a professional services contract for which no advertising would be needed.
Okay. And then there's no cap, so I would recommend in some way, shape, or form that council include some kind of cap to where we can at least check expenses as we go. I know that in here I saw they'll notify us of $5,000. I don't remember if our bill reaches $5,000 and we haven't paid it yet, or if they will continue to keep us in check with expenses. And then the other question I had was, where is this money coming from? So do we have additional professional services money budgeted? If we're looking at doing it in $5,000 chunks, $5,000, $70 an hour, 71 hours, just under 2 weeks, but that doesn't take into account mileage charges, that kind of stuff. So I guess that's a whole lot of questions. Where's the money coming from first?
It was not included in the budget, as this is not anticipated expense at the time the budget was proposed.
Okay.
So, if it's something that council deems necessary to take care of a circumstance that exists, we'll have to do a budget amendment at a future date. So the motion should include authorization to pay.
So
we do have professional services out there that were not specifically earmarked, but I can't, because budgets are not written in stone.
So do we know how much is in that pool?
I did not look.
Could we get something? I don't want to just spend money without any idea of how much is at least out there. And I don't want to, when we get the bill, like we've done in the past, literally discussing cutting postage to pay for things. I think we've done that in the past, last year, I remember. So I'd like to see at least a proposal to where the money's going to come from. Personally, I don't know how the rest of the council feels about that. The other question, I should have asked it, he's back here.
Yeah, all right, go ahead.
The rate of $70 an hour in here, is that a flat $70 an hour, or is that if there's attorney time needed, does that fluctuate, or is the investigation a flat $70 an hour?
Flat $70 an hour. And then if, like, we're trying to streamline and get as much done as possible, to save money, we would, balance out, like if Ray was down here and Greg was down here mediating something else, we would just, split it. It'd still be $70.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as cost efficient as possible, so accomplishing a good job, a great job. And then the other thing, I just caught someone talk about, the original proposal I wrote up, it just had, that if by chance we, met a $5,000, bill of services, we would notify the city attorney, finance director, and then get, a status at that point. But, Kim's, or I forgot who gave me a copy of the current whistleblower complaint, and I highly doubt that initially that it would cost that at all. It all depends on the number of witnesses, but I really don't think that can be the case at all.
Thank you. That's all I've got for now.
Councilmember Holt.
I will be voting no on this. In speaking with MRSC a week or so ago, it's appropriate that when allegations against the police department, and as I understand it, they are being contracted, Intervia is being contracted to investigate allegations of harassment by our police department. It's appropriate that those investigations of a police department be conducted by a law enforcement agency, either the county sheriff, the state patrol, or in some cases, another city law enforcement agency. So that would make it inappropriate for Intervia to investigate our police department. That brings us back to investigating the mayor for the whistleblower complaint, and I feel that it would be a conflict of interest for the mayor to hire someone to investigate himself.
Thank you. Further remarks, Councilmember Putnam.
I'd like to know if the city attorney has had a chance to review this proposal. Offhand, I don't see any indemnification. I don't see any mention of any auto insurance, commercial auto by the contractor, and there isn't identification exactly of who the parties to the contract are at the City of Pacific. I'd also be leery on this. When the complaint was first received by council with the mayor present, we voted, I believe unanimously, to recognize receipt of the complaint last August and refer it to King County for investigation, and nothing was done at that time, but we've also never repealed that motion. So I believe we're setting ourselves up with a bit of a conflict here on who's supposed to be investigating it, since it was recognized as a complaint months ago and already referred elsewhere.
Further remarks.
It would be appropriate for King County.
Councilmember Holt, hey, we're going to make sure everybody gets a chance, so we'll come back around to you. Councilmember Geiger.
Well, and I also have a problem with the contract where it indicates that unreported citizen complaints should also need to be objectively investigated, where it sounds like it's an open-ended contract, where not only the particular whistleblower, but it's leaving it open to investigate whatever comes along. And so I don't like this open-endedness of this, and I too feel it's a huge conflict of interest that the mayor hire or even solicit someone to do this investigation against himself.
Councilmember Jones, unless you have anything to go for round two.
I guess the concern has been brought up about when, in fact, Paula officially brought forward the whistle.
You can't say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can't take it back either. Anyway, I'm sorry. Say now.
Councilmember Halsey and then Councilmember Walker.
It would be appropriate for the King County Sheriff to investigate both incidents, and I suggest we them to do the investigation.
Councilmember Walker.
I don't know how this works, but if the council could enter into the agreement, I know that there's concern with the conflict of interest with the mayor signing the contract and the investigation being against the mayor or into actions done by the mayor. I wonder if the council would sign that contract and have the report delivered directly to council. And I guess that's a question to the attorney, is that something that council could do that would maybe relieve some concerns that you all have?
The difficulty we have as a council is the means by which the company was procured and the meetings that were held prior to it being submitted to the city. I'm concerned, and I've made mention to the administration that he should not make the choice. It should be directed to the clerk or to the council to choose the whistleblower investigator.
And that would be for this specific complaint, not a blanket all whistleblower complaints, just due to the uniqueness of this one.
Because of this one, yes.
Further remarks? Councilmember Putnam.
My first question, have you had a chance to review this contract, and do you have any comments on the agreement itself?
I have some disagreements with the contract. From what I can understand, the company is a qualified company that was contacted by the mayor, and the reputation seems to be quite good. The problem that I have is an open-ended contract to investigate unreported citizens' complaints, and the language of the contract provides for a resolution of the situation beyond just making a report and reporting it back to the findings. And I specifically point out the first paragraph appears to allow the company to conclude the investigation and come to an agreement on behalf of the city, which I believe is beyond the scope of what a whistleblower investigation should be.
Did I answer your question? Further remarks? Councilmember Geiger.
I made this one. I provided all the council members with a statute that on following through on a whistleblower, reporting a whistleblower complaint and following through, and it seems to me that even if they had a finding, we would still have to go through the process with the state, and it may cost the city again. So I would think that we would go with what the statute, the RTW already has, and as far as we had already recommended this to King County back in August, as a follow-through to that. That would be the designated agency in here that's stated in the statute.
Further remarks? Comments from the audience? Come on up.
Just a question, their contract includes investigating apparently 2 types of whistleblower complaints, an allegation against the police department, and then a whistleblower complaint that would be made by a citizen, and then a whistleblower complaint made by an employee. Are you have 2 kinds of things in the same contract, or is it going to be one investigation for each separate complaint? I mean, I know you've had executive sessions and you can't talk about stuff, but as far as understanding what's going on, it would be nice to have it parsed out or separated a little more clearly.
Thank you. Other comments from the audience? Last chance. Remaining council debate. Councilmember Jones, I see your hand.
See if I can not step on my tongue. I do think that the initial investigation of whistleblower complaint is what, if anything, you were going to consider in this contract needed to be specifically to that complaint investigation, not an open-ended investigation for any possibility of unreported citizen complaints or anything else. There would just need to be a contract for the investigation of the whistleblower complaint, period. That would be what I think this would need to be if we wanted to agree to it. But it's been brought up in conversation here that since the time it was reported to the council presented that to go to King County Police, the Sheriff's Department. I don't know what happened with that. I'm confused a little bit as to if in fact we moved that forward, what happened? Why didn't it go forward, or did it go forward and they've not investigated it, or what exactly? So one, I think we need to find out more about what happened to that issue. And two, if we're going to consider them to do the whistleblower investigation, that this contract needs to be narrowed down to specifically to address that one issue.
Councilmember Holt.
Typically, the mayor would be instructed to contact King County Sheriff. If that hadn't been done, then the council will direct somebody else to do that.
Councilmember Walker.
So, I just received the state policy right now, so I've had all of 10 minutes to review it. If this contract was to be modified to where it specifically addressed the complaint, both of the whistleblower complaint, do you feel that it would comply with state law, also keeping in mind what council passed back in August?
If this contract was modified to include one specific complaint, to do the investigation and report their findings back without negotiation of an early settlement, without attempted resolution, and without interfering in the affairs of or decision-making process of the council, then it could work.
And then would we need to repeal the motion to refer this to King County?
If you would, yes, you would have to do that.
And we would do that first and then vote on this, or what? Yeah, because it's on the agenda, it's only a discussion, right?
Yep.
If this is on for discussion, we can't even
There's no
vote on
action
it.
item on the agenda.
There you go, so can you vote on it?
Unless we
We're
have
down.
motion, but. I don't know, I'd have to refer to the thing.
Ken, on that question, if the agenda uses the word discussion, would it preclude council from taking action following the discussion?
Was the agenda published?
Yes.
I believe it would preclude the council from taking judgment that this matter is pending since August. We've made a resolution once on how to deal with it. Repeal that and have the new one, or keep that in effect and send it to King County. Direct somebody to send it to King County for investigation.
So we have a motion on the table to approve a contract that's been presented to council.
That has to be withdrawn.
I withdraw my motion.
Do you withdraw your second, Councilmember Holden?
I withdraw the second.
The motion is withdrawn. The entirety of the council's agenda tonight included discussion on the proposal, so I believe it's still prudent for us to discuss the proposal. Are there any remarks? Councilmember Walker.
I would like to at least explore the option of modifying the contract the way Ken has stated, where it specifically calls out specific complaints without, being as vague as we can for privacy reasons, but exploring the two whistleblower complaints and then putting this on the agenda next week, and also putting on, I don't know if we need it on the agenda, but withdrawing the motion to refer to King County.
Councilmember Jones.
One, I would concur with the investigation or company modifying their contract proposal to the council to be specific to the individual whistleblower complaint that could be moved forward for consideration on Monday night. But at the same time, I do believe we need to go and communicate with King County Sheriff's Department to confirm whether they've got a notification from this city to do an investigation on that whistleblower. And that information be provided at Monday night's meeting so that we can make a determination whether, one, we have to repeal a motion for that investigation or move forward or find out why it stalled if in fact they did an investigation. And two, whether then we want to consider this modified contract for investigation.
Councilmember Guy.
So regardless if it had been turned into the King County Sheriff or not, you would still have to repeal it, right? Because the council made a motion and approved a motion to move forward. So regardless if it went there or not, it still would have to be repealed, is my understanding, correct?
My concern,
Go ahead.
would be, if in fact it was moved forward to King County Sheriff, why have we not heard anything? That's
Maybe it did get turned in.
the question I have, yeah.
Councilmember Putnam, then Holden.
I was just wondering if the clerk could find the wording of the motion that was actually passed in August, if you have that handy, or...
Councilmember, Councilmember Putnam moves that council acknowledge receipt of improper governmental action and recommend proper investigation of these charges in compliance with whistleblower protection. Councilmember Jones seconded. You want me to read the rest?
Just curious what happened.
Council comment, Councilmember Putnam states that there are a number of accusations made and are serious, and the city has an obligation to not retaliate against whistleblower. Councilmember Jones wants cameras to communicate with proper authorities to add this to the current investigation. Public comment during what, and then
I wonder if that one should be audited.
So it sounds like the wording of it didn't
the auditors
specify...
did see this.
And, Paula, I owe you an apology, and I'll tell you what it's all about after the meeting. It was brought to my attention, there was something you said, and I would like to talk to you.
Councilmember Holden.
If we take no action at all, then the matter would still have to be referred to King County Sheriff. And since we've already walked this ground once, I suggest that we follow up King County Sheriff and let them do what the law allows them to do.
Further remarks? Seeing none, there being no more business, we are adjourned.